This is Matrix Lord 212, and this is video 450. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about a lot of different subjects. One of my favorites is Doctor Who. What I want to talk about today is a question that me and my friends have talked about past couple of days. I've talked to Dr. Freedom, I talked to Sexy Blues, and I talked to I Just Subscribe Now, King Scribe, and basically. We all have different opinions on the subject, but how many regenerations does the Doctor have left? Now, if he does have the same amount as the classic series, do you count Journey's End as a regeneration? And another key episode is Let's Kill Hitler, because in Journey's End, the Doctor had to regenerate because he got shot by the Dalek, but he never fully regenerated. Like, he transferred all the regeneration energy into the hands, which the hand just grew another 10th Doctor, but it wasn't a full regeneration. Now, I would think that no, that doesn't count as regeneration. But when you look at Let's Kill Hitler, the same thing happened, as River Song transferred her regeneration energy and all of them to bring the Doctor back. Now, it is unclear if all her regeneration cycles went to the Doctor, or if she just used it all up to bring him back. But the thing is that obviously they still do have limits. At least I think they do. But it's not like a classic Tom Baker episode where they said that the Time Lord body can only regenerate 12 times. Because that was changed in the 5th Doctor when the Master tried to get a new cycle of regenerations. Now, a Time Lord can get a new cycle of regenerations, which means he can get, or she can get, 12 more. But it has to be approved by the Time Lords. So, if it's a race that could create black holes and master time, I'm sure there's a way they can make it where they can keep regeneration limits limitless, basically. So the Master had regenerated well beyond his 12 regenerations. In fact, the first time he regenerated after his limits was when he harnessed the power of Traken to use that as regeneration energy, a different form, not the Time Lord's one, but a different form to regenerate. And in a way, what he did was he phased inside the body of someone and then reverted it to a younger form, or a mixture of him and that person. And there's been many different types of regeneration over the classic series into the new series. But I do believe that the Doctor, I would like to think that he don't have any limits anymore. But we don't know for sure. I mean, don't forget, too, he was a main part of the Time War. Now, if it's true what the late Time Lady said to Rassilon, that with the Time War, people keep dying to be relived over and over and over again, come back to life and die, that could mean that the law was upheld and that Time Lords are allowed to regenerate indefinitely. Because when you're going to war, as I stated in like 5 other videos of mine, when the Time Lords were going to war, they don't need anything to limit them to winning the war. So I do feel that when it concerns the Doctor, he could regenerate indefinitely. This was also evidenced by the Ood saying that this story will never end. So I do believe, because he was a main part of the Time War, maybe not everybody could regenerate indefinitely, but I do believe the Doctor can. And I do believe that the Time Lords had restored the Master back. They brought him back to life to be the main ultimate assassin in Time War, to take on the Daleks. And the Master ran. He didn't do that, but he had a new cycle of regenerations, because when the Doctor was talking to him in the last of the Time Lords, he said regenerate. Now, that means that he can regenerate after, the last regeneration. So I do believe the Master has a new cycle of regenerations if he's limited to it. I think that the Doctor can regenerate indefinitely. But if that's not true, then we have to look at, well, do we count Journey's End as a regeneration? Because the same thing happened in Let's Kill Hitler and it counted. So we really have to figure this out. If that is the case, that the Journey's End regeneration counts, that would mean that the Doctor can only regenerate one more time, and there you go, 12 Doctors. But with the regular regeneration cycle, there would be 13 Doctors. Because you don't count the original, because the original never, don't regenerate. And then when he regenerates the second regeneration, the second Doctor is the first regeneration. So there will be 13 Doctors if the limit stays intact. I don't know. Scribe, I just subscribed now. King Scribe had believed that the Journey's End did count. And I just don't know what to make of it. Of course, if it didn't count, a Time Lord just can't regenerate and then stop in a mid-thing. The 10th Doctor was the only one to do that. So, and then River Song was the next. So, I really don't know if that counts or not. I'm just baffled, just like my friends are baffled. But I do believe that the Doctor can regenerate more than it never really came up that he had limits, except for in Sarah Jane's adventures. But everybody considers that a joke, that he can regenerate another 500 and whatever it was, 7 times. So that's one main thing. Now, I do believe, I have another theory too with the Time Lords, and I do believe, you have to take into effect, alright, this race has been around for billions of years, okay? Time Lords have been around for billions of years, and someone like Rassilon, the original, he came towards the end of his regeneration cycle, and they even showed his body in the 5 Doctors. Now, that was no ghost of Rassilon. That was Rassilon. What I think happens with the Time Lord Society is that when someone is nearing the end of their last regeneration cycle, I think that they put the body in a sort of suspended animation, but not the mind. I think that, if something happens or the council has to decide on things, that they confer with the elders. I would call them elders of Time Lord lore, and their consciousness would be free to interact and speak while their bodies are frozen. And I think that's what happened in the 5 Doctors. I think that, the Doctor wasn't aware of this, but, it's like the Time Lords are keeping Rassilon on ice, basically. And they're keeping a lot of Time Lords on ice, because if something, they've been to war before. So, they are of a race, they're not stupid. If something's going to happen, and there is a law that's limiting regenerations, they're going to lift that law, because they're going to do everything in their power to win the Time War. And basically, I think that's what they've done. I think that they lifted the law on time regenerations, and Rassilon was able to come back and regenerate. I think also they brought the Master back. And you know what? At that point in time, like I said in many other videos, if you're going to war, you're going to do everything in your power to win, and that's what the Time Lords did. They would even go as far as bring Omega back. They would bring the Ronnie, anybody, even if they're villains, heroes, whatever, you're going to bring them back, you're all going to get together, you're going to beat the Daleks and whoever, and then they're going to do what they're going to do. But I think that's what happened. Because don't forget, they didn't really go crazy about the Doctor either, but he was on the front line, and also he had a little say, because he was the president of Gallifrey through a couple of generations. Even though he never really used that title. But, he did have the respect amongst the Time Lords, So, there's a lot of unanswered questions. Also, too, the Weeping Angels of old are part of the Gallifreyan Council. Now, I do believe that the Weeping Angels came from the planet Gallifrey. I think that they're another race, or they could be an offshoot of the Time Lords. There was another race that I still can't remember. I got to go back and watch that. That were allowed to vote on if Gallifrey could return or not. And of course, the Weeping Angels voted no, and the other race voted no. And Rassilon, accepted their decision, but they were overruled basically. So, I do believe that once again, regeneration limits are limitless now. And concerning the Daleks, I believe we're going to see a new Dalek in the first episode, because I heard that they're tweaking the um, paradigm Daleks or whatever. So I'm just questioning if we're going to see Davros return or not, because there's been nothing said about Davros returning, and I think with all the Daleks returning, he should return. But maybe they're saving that for the 50th anniversary. So what do you think about the Doctor regenerating? Do you think that he can regenerate beyond two more times, I guess, or one more time? So what do you guys have to say? And that's the main thing I was talking about today. Another thing I want to talk about is Series 7. Now, if you've been reading about the episodes, I think Dr. Freedom basically covered it. So I'm not really going to repeat it about the episode outline, but I am going to touch upon something that I heard, and that is that it seems that the Doctor is visiting Amy and Rory at different time periods in their life. So we could be seeing, like, let's just say the Doctor visits Amy and Rory a year past the Christmas special. And then in another episode, he visits them like 4 years later or 5 years later. And then another, I mean, maybe the episodes ain't continuous. Maybe he drops on them with the Dalek episode, he goes away, he comes back years later with episode 2, which is Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. Maybe he comes back years later, episode 3. I mean, I don't know, unless, of course, they're still with him. But I'm getting the opinion that that's what's going to be taking place. He's going to be dropping in on them at different time periods when he needs them. And also, Stephen Moffat had alluded to that, too, that the Doctor, when he needs them, he's going to drop in on them, and their time is going to be passing. But his, he's a Time Lord. He ages a lot slower. So, I'm very curious about this news from the Daily Star, because as Dr. Freedom said, half the stuff they said has been nonsense. And I even touched upon this a while back in my videos about the Statue of Liberty possibly being a weeping angel. I don't know. They're stating that the Statue of Liberty and a new army of weeping angels will take over New York City. And there was supposed to be some massive battle at Grand Central Station that I know about, because when I went to filming of Tudor City Plaza, they told us that they were going to be filming in Grand Central Station overnight. So I'm curious as to, the purpose of the Statue of Liberty being a weeping angel. But other than that, I am also curious to see, who dies and who doesn't. I mean, we do know that Rory, spoiler, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't listen to this. Okay, ready? Okay. We do know that Rory supposedly dies in Weeping Angels for real, of old age. So I don't know what's going to happen. There is talk about the timeline being changed. There have been these two logos that show like different colors with the Doctor, which could signify that the Doctor is traveling in two different timelines now, going forward with Series 7, 8, which would make things very interesting, because he has no clue what any of the history is for this alternate universe. So I am curious, though, about Amelia Pond, because I was watching an episode the other day of the classic series, and I just find it funny how the City of Death episode with the Jaggeroth, the cracks in time, the cracks in the skins in the universe, that was in that episode, basically. I mean, it basically, that's what happened. The Jaggeroth was splintered into all different time zones. Maybe that's what Rory is. Who knows? But anyway, he was splintered into all different time zones, and the Doctor felt it. I mean, because he's a Time Lord, Romana felt it. They had that thing where time was repeating, sort of like the Pandorica, where River Song kept dying, and history was repeating itself because time was cracked. Well, that was repeated in the Pandorica because it happened in City of Death, because time was damaged back then. The Doctor was in pain. I mean, he felt it. Romana didn't feel it as much, but he knew something was wrong, and time was being messed with, so to speak. So there was a crack in time before. I mean, they call it cracks in the skins of the universe now, but there was a crack in time before in the Fourth Doctor's time, which also if you think about the new series compared to the old series, a lot of stuff has been coming from the classic series. The basic look of the 11th Doctor is almost like a younger version and taller version of Patrick Troughton, which is the second Doctor. And he also, the 11th Doctor, basically, after he did the first season, 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, he researched it and he watched all the classic episodes, he said. So, he probably put that into his performances, I'm sure, because like a lot of times he acted like Tom Baker, many different Doctors. So there's a lot going on, but I lost what I lost what the heck I was talking about. All right, well, anyway, classic series. Thank you. Little. I didn't have my coffee yet this morning, so I wanted to get this video out on time. But anyway, City of Death, there's a lot of episodes in the past, like John Pertwee's episode, The Three Doctors, had the Bird Tweets, had Omega, had Talks of Dreams, had, many different things. And in fact, the episode of Inferno is the first appearance of the eye patch with the Brigadier in the first parallel universe. So they did use that as a homage to it, with Madame Corvarian and the eye patch. They did use the aspect of alternate universes, and I'm wondering if these are basically rebooted ideas from the classic series, because there was a crack in time, and that's what the whole thing was been about for Series 6. Crack in time, or cracks in the skins of the universe, time being damaged, so to speak. So also, there was going to be a great war that the Time Lords grabbed Tom Baker, the Fourth Doctor, and said that there was going to be a massive war with the Daleks in the future, and they wanted him to prevent their beginning, and if he refused, then at least alter their beginning where they would evolve at a much slower pace. So that was the Time War, basically, that they talked about, I think, in Genesis of the Daleks. That many of us know about. I mean, Dr. Freedom knows about it, and Sexy Blues. I mean, we've talked about this before. I remember that scene. So a lot of these stories are coming from the classic series. I'm hoping that the Dream Lord is the Valyard, and that's from the classic series as well, Trial of the Time Lord. But it's good, though, in a way, that they're refreshing Doctor Who with this. I'm not mad that stuff is getting reused or updated or whatever. I mean, I think it's great. I don't see it as being stolen from the classic series. It's just because Stephen Moffat is telling a greater story. So, but it is similar. I'm not going to say it's exactly the same. It's similar to past Doctor Who stories. But I, for one, hope the Dreamland returns, and I do want to see a Valyard storyline resolved. Other than that, what else could we talk about concerning Doctor Who? The 50th anniversary. They're going to make a series of specials. The first episode of the anniversary special or season, whatever, is going to be by Stephen Moffat. And from what I've heard from someone that made comments, it's not going to be specials. It's going to be 50th anniversary Doctor Who season, which we're not sure how many episodes they're going to be. I'm thinking there's 6, but maybe there's going to be 12 or 14. I don't know. But I don't know what they're about. But I'm almost sure that someone's returning, whether it be Omega, the Master, the Ronnie, the Ice Warriors, the Zygons, Petalon, you return to the planet. I mean, something's going to happen in the 50th anniversary. I always thought that, when David Tennant talked before, he definitely wanted to be part of the anniversary. I thought it was going to be a lock that he is, but I'm not so sure now who's going to be in it. There was the talk of Tom Baker being in it, but then as I've researched it and stuff, there was this Tom Baker thing on Facebook. It wasn't actually Tom Baker. That was his Facebook site. It was someone else. So I wasn't really happy about that, because the only reason I liked it because I thought it was actually him. But there is talk that Tom Baker may be in it. There's talk of other doctors, but there's still, what it is. you can't really talk about the anniversary when Series 7 isn't even filmed yet. There are episodes that like have 10 pages. I mean, maybe that's wrong because as of now, that there was in Doctor Who magazine, but that's like months behind. So maybe they're all done. But as far as I'm concerned, we got a ways to go with the Series 7. And as someone also said before, it takes 5 weeks to film an episode. And also keep in mind too that Sherlock is going to be filming in January. So I'm hoping that they wrap up Series 7 this year, and then they start filming. Well, here's the thing now. They say that there's going to be a full season in 2014, which would be Series 8. The only thing I'm curious about is when are they going to film Series 8? Because, Matt Smith, they're going to be filming the anniversary season. So that's obviously going to be filmed, I would say, in 2013, early. So while we're watching Series 7, Episode 7, they're filming the anniversaries. And then, I mean, do they take a break and then they go film Series 8? I mean, like Stephen Moffat said, this is going to be the biggest, craziest filming time ever for Doctor Who. Because they're just filming non-stop, I guess, with the exception of a break, I guess, for Christmas or whatever. But, I got to really map it out. 5 weeks per episode, which I'm not sure if it took 5 weeks for the Weeping Angels one. I mean, because they did come all the way to New York and stuff, too. So, I really got to figure this out. But, no full season for 2012. One season basically made up of 2012 and 2013, and an anniversary season, which we don't necessarily know if it's going to be 14 episodes, but it probably won't. But the Christmas special is going to be technically an anniversary Christmas special, because usually they have a Christmas special for every series, and they basically have Series 7 on a Christmas special this year. So being that there's no Series 8, it won't technically be a Series 8 Christmas special. Unless, of course, it is, and that'll be the lead-in to Series 8. I don't know. It's very confusing, but it's just confusing because you're splitting the seasons, and that confuses the crap out of me. Confuses everybody. No one really knows what's going on. And then you go back to, okay, when is Series 7 going to air? Now, I've thought for a while it was going to be August 25th, but that hasn't been confirmed either. Then the Doctor in a TARDIS, Doctor Who in a TARDIS by Craig Hurl, is reporting that the first episode possibly is going to be September 1st, because their reasoning is that they've looked at the schedule for the BBC, and there is no Doctor Who for August 25th. I've been trying to look for that schedule, and I can't find it. I don't know where they got it from, but they do have access to a lot of stuff. They're a great site. But, if they say September 1st, I have no idea. I mean, I'm thinking I believe it's the 25th, but we're going to have to wait and see. I mean, maybe more will be revealed after the trailer is released tomorrow. So, right now that's up in the air. It's up in the air how many specials we're going to have. It's up in the air. Well, Matt Smith, the only thing that's definitive is that Matt Smith is going to be the Doctor for the 50th anniversary and Series 8, which that will be in 2014. So, that's the only thing we know, is that Matt Smith's going to be the Doctor in Series 8. Other than that, this has been a huge video talking about Doctor Who. I'm wondering if the fall of the 11th has nothing to do with the Doctor at all. I'm wondering if the fall of the 11th has to do with the fall of the 11th death of Rory. I was thinking about that, because just because you hear 11, you're like, okay, the 11th Doctor. I mean, is it that obvious? Or maybe not. And also, revealing his name. Well, yeah, his name is going to be revealed, obviously, to River Song, because he definitely does tell her his name. But nobody else will know it. So maybe that's what Stephen Moffat means, that his name will be revealed, but only in a whisper. unless of course they reveal one of his names, which, going through history, he's had many different names. It has been rumored that he will be Merlin in an alternate dimension or reality or parallel universe, whatever you call it, because that was stated in Battlefield, Seventh Doctor's episode, where Morgan Le Fay and Mordred, from an alternate sideways in time dimension, come looking for the Doctor. So, it's quite possible that a future incarnation will be of the Doctor will be Merlin in an alternate reality. And also, like as I was talking to Sexy Blues, Johnny Blues, and Dr. Freedom, there is the Brain of Morbius episode where it was a big. I gotta go back and watch that because I remember seeing it years ago. I haven't seen that episode for oh my god, decades maybe. I really haven't seen that episode in so long, but there was a scene where it was alluded that the Doctor had many faces before, like William Hartnell. So it could be that those faces are future incarnations of the Doctor and not before the first Doctor. That because time is timey-wimey. These things that he sees is not it's not the past that Morbius saw was, but future Doctors. It could be that. But I, for one, think the Doctor can regenerate so far indefinitely, and I think that would be better because right now, I mean, maybe it wouldn't be believable because they've made such a big thing about having limits, but I think that the show shouldn't have to be worrying about that. I think that that's something that they should focus on other things and not, oh my god, this is the last regeneration, what are we going to do type of thing. I think it's a thing that should be resolved quietly, and as the 12th Doctor, I mean, here's the thing, if he has 12 regenerations, then the last Doctor will be the 13th Doctor. So, in other words, if the 13th Doctor can't regenerate, that would be it. Because William Hartnell regeneration into Patrick Troughton, that's one regeneration. So the second Doctor is the first regeneration. So that's why the 13th Doctor would be the final Doctor, not the 12th. So I just believe that it's going to happen. I mean, we're going to see the 12th Doctor, I believe, in 2014 at the end. And then, we got plenty of time to worry about the 13th Doctor. So, alright, this video is almost at a half hour. So, thanks for joining me on video 450, talking about my favorite subject, Doctor Who, and I'll be back later. Alright, bye for now.